Okay, the next assignment that I'll be looking at is going to be giant pandas. It's one of those ELA mixed skills sheets. It's on your bingo card and in your packet. So go and find yours, and we'll give you a minute, and you can come back. Remember to pause the video if you're going to look for yours. Okay, parents, I did not tell you, I don't know if maybe you're giving your child grades during this time. If you are, I usually from these sheets, I take a reading and a language grade. And sometimes even a science, or I don't do science, but Miss Robin does science. But you could even take a science or social studies grade depending on the topic. This one is about giant pandas. It gives you a fun fact here. One giant panda can eat up to 27 pounds of bamboo a day. That's a lot of bamboo. If you ever go to the Memphis Zoo, you see bamboo growing all over the zoo, and that's to feed the pandas with. And if you look in their cage or their den through the glass, you'll see there's just gobs of bamboo, and they just eat all the time. All right, the first thing, number one, is a little short piece of informational text called Panda Cubs. Follow along with me as I read this. Newborn panda cubs are tiny and helpless. When a panda cub is born, it is about the size of a stick of butter. It is pink, nearly hairless, and its eyes are closed. It is also too weak to stand. The mother panda stays with her cub constantly for the first few months of life. She must nurse the cub every 2 hours and protect it from harm. By the time the cub is 3 months old, its eyes have opened and it can move around on its own. The cub will start to eat bamboo at around a year of age. What would happen to a panda cub that lost its mother? Use evidence from the text to support your answer. And remember, evidence from the text. You got to find it in the text. Okay, what would happen to a panda cub who lost its mother? Okay, if you put this, it would, or something along this line, it would starve to death. Because why? What's the text evidence? What does it say? She must what? She must nurse the cub every 2 hours. Also, if you put something would hurt or kill it, that's correct too, because what else does the mother do besides nurse it? She what? She protects it from harm. Very good. Number 2, fill in the 2 blanks with a pair of antonyms. Now, what are antonyms? We talk about synonyms, antonyms, homophones, homonyms, all that stuff. What are antonyms? Do you remember? They're opposites. That's correct. And you've been learning opposites since you were in kindergarten, and probably at one time you just called them opposites. But the reason they include this is because you need to know the word antonyms. And so that's why we do this, to remind you what an anonym is. The way I tell a difference between antonyms and synonyms, if I can't remember, S, same, S, synonym. So synonyms are the same, and then you just remember the other antonyms are opposite. Okay, so you were to fill in the blank with a pair of antonyms. Number 1, adult pandas are large, but their babies are small. What are your antonyms? Large and small. Number 2, all pandas have fur that is black and white. There's your antonyms. Number 3, when pandas are born, their eyes are closed and do not open until they're a few weeks old. What are your antonyms there? Closed and open. Those are opposites. Very good. Number 3 was another one of these where we had to rewrite the sentence correctly. All right, you have 2 this time. Giant pandas lives in China in the mountains. Okay? So let's see what's wrong with that sentence I just read. Anything wrong with the word giant? No, it's correct. Should it be capitalized? Yes, because it's what? The beginning of a sentence. Giant pandas. What's wrong? There's something wrong with the word pandas here. What is wrong with it? It's spelled correctly. Right. It's not supposed to have an apostrophe because the pandas are not owning anything. It's not possessive. It's not talking about the panda's eyes or the panda's den or the panda's food, is it? It's just plural, meaning more than one. So it just has to have an S. Giant pandas lives in China. Is anything wrong with the word lives? Right, you got to have that subject-verb agreement. Giant pandas live. You don't need an S. In. What about China? Is China correct? No, it's not. It needs to be capitalized, doesn't it? I'm going to capitalize the word China. Okay. In the mountains. Should mountains be capitalized here? No, that is incorrect. So we need to fix that. Why should mountains not be capitalized here? Right, it's not specific mountains. It's not the Rocky Mountains or the Smoky Mountains. It's just the mountains, okay? So there's what you should have fixed. You should have fixed the word pandas doesn't need an apostrophe. Live without an S. In China, you need to capitalize China. And then mountains was not to be capitalized. Okay? All right, let's look at the next one. It's a little bit different. Got a little more going on in it. Pandas are so cute, Amelia exclaimed. Okay, so you've got a quote here. We have a quote. You put it in what we call, yes, quotation marks. So that's correct. Open quote. But what's wrong with the word pandas? Right, it needs to be capitalized. First off, it's the beginning of a sentence. And anytime you have a quote within a sentence, you capitalize the first word in that quote. So pandas. Pandas are so cute. What's wrong with the word so? The wrong so, isn't it? This kind of so. Now, what goes at the end of this quote? An exclamation point. Just like that. And then you close your quote. Amelia exclaimed. And then I have a period there. You can't see it. So there's how we fix that one. Number 4 is simply to underline the prepositional phrase. We have learned our prepositions since day 1 of school. We went to the zoo and saw pandas eating bamboo in trees. What did you underline? To the zoo, because to is a preposition. And, yes, in trees. Very good. Number 5, pandas are solitary. Well, look, that's a word that you might not know as a 4th grader. S-O-L-I-T-A-R-Y. If you don't know that word, how can you figure that word out? Look it up in the dictionary. Google it on your mom's phone. But what we want you to do here is we want you to look at what we call context clues. That's other clues in the sentence that might tell you what this word means. Pandas are solitary. They do not live together in groups or families. So if they do not live together in groups of families, that means they live what? Alone. So what does the word solitary mean in this sentence? It means alone. Very good. So that was D. You should have circled alone. Number 6, giant pandas are endangered species. you have the word endangered. What does that mean? I know you've learned that in science along the way. If a species is endangered, what does it mean? It means that they're in danger of becoming what we call extinct or going away, doesn't it? It tells you, though, to divide this word endangered into a prefix, a base word, and a suffix. So what is the prefix here? En, and then your base word is danger, and then it has that suffix ed. And there's that. And then the last thing that it tells you to do is that star again. And we're almost done. The star says you have been given a giant panda. Imagine that. On the other side of the paper lists 5 challenges. What are